Fentanyl is killing Americans at record rates.
Her friends were doing it. It was a prescription.
Many of them didn't know they were taking the deadliest drug our country has ever seen.
He was just beginning his life.
They didn't know how drug traffickers mix fentanyl in cocaine, in heroin, and in methamphetamine. They didn't know that the prescription pill they bought from a dealer on social media was fake and actually contained fentanyl. And they didn't know that just one pill can kill.
If you deal fentanyl in Wichita County, we are coming for you.
But we at the DEA know that this is happening. And now you do too. Now you can help us to save lives.
From your local news authority, this is a KFDX3 News Special, Fentanyl, a dose of reality. Now, Daryl Franklin and Lauren Linville.
Hello, and thank you so much for being with us this evening. Fentanyl is a crisis that is sweeping the nation, and we are definitely in crisis mode here at home. That's why we're here this evening to talk about just how bad it's gotten here, what's being done about the problem, and also answer your questions.
Yeah, we're joined by WPD Sergeant Charlie Eiper. We also have WFISD Superintendent Dr. Donnie Lee, and also Dr. Sonia Caliste, a family and psychiatric nurse practitioner with Rose Street Mental Health. Thank you all three for being here very much.
And before we get started, here are some of the stats and information that you should be aware of in this ongoing battle with fentanyl. Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid that is up to 50 times stronger than heroin, 100 times stronger than morphine. It's also a major contributor to fatal and non-fatal overdoses throughout the entire United States.
As of today, there have been more than 20 fentanyl-related deaths in Wichita Falls alone. The youngest victim was 13, with ages ranging from 13 into the mid-50s. So far in Wichita Falls alone, more than 50 arrests have been made in the first half of 2022 involving fentanyl.
Okay, now let's go ahead and open it up to our panel of guests, and we'll begin with you, Sergeant Eiper. Is it possible to tell the difference between a regular pill like OxyContin or hydrocodone, Xanax, Percocet? Is it possible to tell the difference than a pill that's been laced with fentanyl?
Well, we have tried to put out pictures of what the counterfeit pills look like, especially the ones that look like Percocet. And it's difficult, it's possible, but the best thing is just don't take that pill unless it's been prescribed to you. And then when we come across it in the field, we have a way to field test it. But most people aren't going to have that ability, and it's very dangerous to even touch. So it just becomes very difficult because of the counterfeit pills. That's why we're so concerned.
So even police officers on a scene of something might not know whether or not it's a counterfeit or real.
Exactly. That's why we take precautions like doubling up on gloves. We might even put on masks, because we know that officers have responded to just fentanyl being in the air, and so it's very dangerous, and we're making sure that we're taking the precautions we need.
Okay, very good to know, Sergeant Eiper. Thanks so much. Dr. Lee, let's talk a little bit about the district's plan for maybe if there was an accidental overdose inside a school district. Is there a plan for that, and is Narcan at all involved in that plan?
Yeah, you mentioned that's exactly what we're going to do. We just recently got Narcan at all of our campuses. That's all of the elementaries, all of the junior highs, and all of the high schools. And so in addition to that, we have trained our counselors how to use that, because if something happens in the school, we want to be able to remedy that situation quickly.
Okay. Dr. Caliste, this question for you. What are the signs that parents could be aware of as far as addiction to fentanyl?
Well, you can look out for some signs and symptoms would be like if the child may be having symptoms of gray or their lips turning blue. You also want to look for like stiffness in their body. If they're confused, they may have a decreased level of consciousness, maybe unresponsiveness. Also, just like I said, the body stiffening. So those are some of the signs, and like the pupils. You may see the pupils become very pinpoint. So those are some of the signs that you can look for in children.
Okay, those are some of the physical things. What does this do to someone's mental health if they do become addicted to a drug like fentanyl?
The mental health is usually, like I said, confusion. They may have bizarre behaviors and unresponsive, like we said, just disoriented, maybe very disoriented, confused. So those are some of the mental health signs. Or delusional thinking, delusional behaviors, erratic behaviors. So those are symptoms that you would look for.
Okay, Sergeant Eiper, this question for you. Rainbow fentanyl. You know, during our 6 o'clock newscast, we talked about that and how it was being pushed with Legos. And so we're seeing all these, they're disguised. They look like gummy bears and sweet tarts and Skittles. And are you seeing these things, and we're coming into Halloween season, is this something that parents should really be concerned of, that they could be mixed somehow, somewhere? Or is this just so drug dealers can get the drug from point A to point B?
Yeah, I agree. I think what you just said last is exactly what it's for. It's actually to deceive and hide, for transport, for distribution. And when it comes to Halloween, I don't think that we need to overreact as parents. I mean, be cautious, of course, but they're not going to be making these to hide them in order to just distribute them to kids and things like that. They are to deceive law enforcement, to be able to get them from point A to point B so that they can make their money and not get caught.
Okay, sounds good. Dr. Donnie Lee, for you, Crime Stoppers has been teaching these courses about fentanyl and the dangers for students to look out for parents to look out for. And they've been at campuses over the past few weeks. What other plans, or I know you talked about something on the website as well as a resource, what other types of resources are there for students and parents alike?
Good. Crime Stoppers, we reached out to them to do a community partnership with them because we want to raise awareness to kids and to parents. So we've also partnered with some pastors in the local community that want to sponsor some of the best speakers in the country to come and talk to our students, that can relate to students in a way that students will listen to them as they show up, and they're not tuning them out and bored. So we've partnered with pastors in that regard, with county judges. So a lot of awareness, a lot of public speaking to get the message out to kids and parents.
Okay.
Let's go back to Sergeant Charlie Eiper. You know, we're told that cartels are responsible for a lot of the fentanyl being laced out there. Why are they doing that? And do you think that local drug dealers know that the drug is actually laced?
I think they're becoming more and more aware of it. And the users at first probably thought that they were receiving Percocet pills and maybe they were taking one thinking that would be okay. But I think it's definitely becoming more and more known. And so you have people now that are hooked on the drug and they're taking it knowing they're taking it. And it's just so dangerous. Because we don't know the amounts of fentanyl in each pill and the doses, or even how they individually, their body will respond to it. I think that's what the danger of right now is, the big danger.
So are we seeing local drug dealers lacing it themselves, though, taking these, you know, taking the fentanyl? I've heard that maybe this drug dealer might want to make his product special, to where someone using products, the same product, they think all over, they'll for some reason think, oh, well, this product's better, I'm going to go back to this drug dealer. Are you seeing that they're actually doing that here in Wichita Falls?
That's possible. I'm not sure they're doing it with the pills, but we do know even before the counterfeit pills were here, we had folks who were using heroin here in the area that were lacing the heroin with fentanyl. And even people eating fentanyl out of patches that was given to them by a doctor. It was legal, and they would abuse it that way. So it's very possible that they could do that. I don't have definite information on that, but it's possible.
Okay, thank you all so much. Now, when we come back, we're going to be joined by the parents of Zoe Brewer. Zoe was the first case that's being prosecuted as a murder case where a drug dealer, an alleged drug dealer, was involved and was able to get her the pill. We're going to talk about that as soon as we come back with her parents.
Stay with us.
Welcome back. Craig and Becky Brewer are with us now. They're the parents of 20-year-old Zoe Brewer, who passed away in April from an accidental fentanyl overdose. Thank you both very much for being here this evening for this special show. First of all, tell me why it was so important for you to be here this evening.
Just to raise awareness. No parent should have to face or go through what we have if we can stop even just one. And get the awareness out there.
Yeah, it's pretty painful. I mean, you just don't want to see anybody else do it. You don't want to, I don't know how to describe it.
You know, Zoe could be anyone's child, from a young adult to a teenager. Let's talk about Zoe. What kind of a child was she in young adult?
Zoe loved her family. She always wanted friends. she struggled making friends, and so she gravitated to the bad ones. She struggled a lot, but she loved her family. She could make anybody smile. She could light up a room with her smile.
Yeah, she struggled with mental issues and social issues, things like that. And so, yeah, it was easy for somebody that wanted to take advantage of her to do that. That's
And just like so many other teens and young adults, Zoe had a cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And we were talking just a few minutes ago, and you were saying that, you know, if parents could really take anything in, and that is just how easy it is to communicate with that cell phone.
Yeah, I was saying that so much of the crime that you used to see 30 years ago on the streets is on the phone now. And you don't see the drug dealer on the street corner anymore. They're right there in your house, in your kid's hand, in their backpack, whatever it is. And so that's how they're making contact with them. They don't have to go to some, you know, some side of town that you have to worry about them. It's right there in their bedroom. It's wherever they are.
Brought right to them.
Mm-hmm. And they're delivering it to them. That's the thing. You don't have to go get it. They're delivering it to them.
Hers was brought right to our house, to our front porch.
Mm-hmm.
And let's talk about that day. It was April 20th.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that day and what led up to Zoe being found.
I was at work. He was out of town in El Paso for work. And we had talked to her throughout the day, all day on and off. She had 20 minutes before I found her, she had talked to my mom about coming over and going swimming with her. So she had no intent, you know, when she took that Percocet, what she thought was Percocet. She had no idea there was fentanyl in it. She was making plans for the rest of the day. And I walked in and found her in her bed sitting straight up, and she was cold. She had died so fast. It just took one. And I'll never get over seeing that, and I would never want anybody to have to see their child go through that.
It happened that fast, and there was nothing that paramedics, anyone could do.
They worked for 30 minutes. She was already gone.
Yeah, that was...
he was watching on cameras.
Yeah, so that was the first, when I first figured out something was going on, I was out of town. I was sitting there with my boss and a coworker, and I see a thing on my phone that says somebody's at your house on the cameras. And I look at it, and it's the fire department going in the house. So that's how I found out.
Oh,
so then
goodness.
I called her, and she's hysterical, and she's like, call my sister, I need her. So I called her sister, said something happened, get over there. And then I just watched everything unfold because I have cameras in the house and outside the house. So I basically watched everything happen from, you know.
Time.
I can't even imagine.
So yeah, and that's also how they know who it was. You know, the cameras have who it was that came over to the house, the guy that they charged with it and stuff. I mean,
they looked at the camera and immediately knew he was a dealer.
Did he just walk up right up to the window?
Front porch.
Yes.
Front porch.
Yeah, he came up to the front window. Yeah, and was there just a short period. It was that quick, and then left. Saw him clearly, saw his car clearly and stuff, and the first thing they said was, "Yeah, we know who he is. He's a known drug dealer."
Let's go ahead and talk about that person who police believe they know who it is. On August 29th, 19-year-old Jacob Blankenship was arrested. He was charged with murder after allegedly selling Zoe a pill laced with fentanyl before her death. Now, what would both of you like to see happen with this case moving forward?
It's hard to say justice because we'll never hold our baby again. But I do hope he gets some time to think about what he's done.
Yeah, I hope he gets as much as they possibly can give him. I mean, I mean, hopefully the people in town, the DA, things like that, everybody that's working on stuff like that, jury, all that stuff, will say that they're tired of it and they're ready, and they start doing something about it, and you know, locking people up for it. I know a lot of times these guys that are dealing the drugs are also addicts themselves, but you know, what they did is wrong, no matter. So whether they're trying to support a habit or they're just trying to make money, it doesn't matter. So
just parents, be aware of everything your kids are doing.
And this, if you were going to reach anybody out there right now who's watching, I mean, what would you like to say to them, where something that possibly they might be able to take away?
Just know what your child's doing on their phone, in their bedrooms. I mean, they've got it right there. Just be aware.
Well, thank you both so much for being here this evening. I know you've reached parents out there and possibly potential victims too, and it's possible you being here this evening could potentially save lives.
If we can just save one.
All right, thank you all again so very much. We'll be right back. Welcome back to our special in-depth program, Fentanyl, a Dose of Reality. We're back with our panelists now.
All right, let's go ahead and go over to Dr. Calise real quick. Doctor, talk a little bit about, we were just discussing about this, the true danger of fentanyl is that it's hard to measure just how much a person is taking. Will you talk a little bit about what that means and why that is?
Absolutely. So the overdoses, they become deadly because of the potency of the fentanyl. So when these people who are manufacturing the medication or these illegal pills, they don't have a way of measuring, like if they're given too much or too little in the pills. So therefore, when a person take a pill that's laced with fentanyl, they have no idea how much. So that is why it is so fatal, because you don't know if they've been using it before, you don't know their body size, you know, the weight, and so that is one of the main reasons, because the drug is so fatal, is because of the amount. No one knows the amount, and even the people who are manufacturing, they can't say, well, put this amount in there or that amount, and that is what's causing the fatal. And
because it is so addictive, what does the treatment look like for someone, and is that available here locally?
Yeah, there's treatment centers here at Red River Hospital. We do have patients that have checked in there for treatment for fentanyl. I know a couple of patients myself that have had someone that have died, and then they come immediately for treatment. So we come in and start detoxing, because undoubtedly, like if they're on Narcan, on fentanyl, they're most likely taking some other opiate or something to that sort, some other drug that they shouldn't be using. So there is drug centers around. Like I said, Red River Hospital happens to be one, and then there's some around the community that you can use as well.
I have a question for Dr. Donnie Lee. Real fast though, I have a question for you. And what is the addiction like? Does it feel to the addict like a heroin addiction?
Yes, it's similar to the heroin addiction, but it's more, due to it being more potent, and they don't realize that, then, you know, they get the more effects of being high. So that is, like I said, it's so much, as you mentioned before, it is 50 times more powerful than heroin, and then 100 times more than morphine. So just imagine the effects that you would get when you be on methamphetamines. I mean, not us personally, but people that use it, they're high. So when you can get this much more effect, and it's cheaper, then yes, they will use it.
Okay, and Dr. Lee, we know that this is in school districts across the nation. Is it something that we're actually seeing in the WFISD right now?
Yeah, unfortunately, we just had a former student that passed away, and that was around 3 weeks ago. And we do know, after doing some investigations, that some of our current students were with that former student. So it has crept into the school district at all levels. We're not seeing it at the elementary right now, but we know that it's almost targeted to elementary kids with bright colored candy and gummy bears and things like that. But as low as the age of 13, so our junior high kids and certainly our high school kids. And even if it's not something that they're aiming to take, we know that they're taking the, Percocets and Oxycontin. They may be thinking that they're taking those, but it could be fentanyl.
Okay. Sergeant Eiper, let's talk a little bit about this. Should people who distribute or manufacture these drugs like fentanyl right now in Wichita Falls, Wichita County, should they be scared?
Yes. Just like Dobie Kosa said on the clip on the opening of the show tonight, if you are dealing this dangerous drug in Wichita County, we're going to investigate it. We're going to find you and arrest you. We're going to prosecute you. You're going to go to prison. And if you cause the death of another individual because of your distribution of this fentanyl, you can be charged with a homicide type offense such as murder.
Are you finding that people who are doing drugs are scared as well? Are you seeing evidence that numbers are going down as far as drug abuse because people out there who want to do drugs, maybe they're not doing them now because they're concerned that this fentanyl could be in their drug of choice?
I don't know if that's been reduced. I know we're having other overdoses that aren't related to fentanyl. But what we are seeing are people that, especially those who are recovering, and they're very serious about that. They have made it known that they will inform on those who are dealing this fentanyl here in the area.
Okay, thank you all very much. We're going to wrap up just as soon as we get back, so stay with us. We'll be right back. Before we wrap this evening, we're going to give our panelists a chance to have some final words, and Sergeant Eiper, we'll start with you.
Well, on behalf of the Wichita Falls Police Department, we want our citizens to know that we love you, we care for you, but we need your help in this crisis. We're working together with our media family, the District Attorney's Office. Our investigators are working very hard on this, so if you have information, please don't assume we have it. Give us a call on Crime Stoppers, the non-emergency number, whatever it may be. Let us know. We need your help.
All right, Dr. Lee?
Yeah, Wichita Falls ISD wants to partner with parents. We know that we cannot do this alone as a school district. So parents, go to wfisd.net, our website, click on Parent Resources /fentanyl, and you'll find a lot of resources there to help you discover, is your child on fentanyl? Are you seeing some signs? Because we know we need your help and to partner with you to keep your child safe.
Okay, and final words from you?
Okay. On behalf of Family Practice and Mental Health, just know that we're out there, we're making awareness, we're trying to get the word out and monitoring patients, whether they're children or adults. Just know that any pill can kill. So if you don't know who's giving you medication, I just advise you not to take it. Educate your children, talk with your children, even at a small age, and just let them know that not to take anything from anybody.
Very good advice. Thank you so much for being with us, and thank you to our panelists.
You can find resources on our website. Thanks again.